What to do when your marriage feels hopeless. This is part 3 of the Saving a Marriage in Crisis series. Watching all 3 parts is very important. You ever see someone trying to put together a piece of furniture without reading the instructions? They're twisting screws in the wrong places, forcing pieces that don't fit, and by the end, the whole thing is wobbly and barely standing. That's what most people do when their marriage is in crisis. They're just guessing, trying anything and everything, and hoping something will magically fix it. But instead of making things better, they make it worse. If that sounds familiar, don't worry. You're not alone. More importantly, there's still hope. I'm Ola, one half of a partnership with my wife, Lola, and we launched LolaandLola.com in 2018, co-authored the book, Get My Marriage Back, and we've helped countless individuals and couples not just save their marriage, but make it better. All right. Before we go any further, because that's some more stuff, right? I want to invite you to a free training that could change everything for you. It's called Reignite Your Love in 45 Days. And in it, we break down the exact strategies that have helped countless couples rebuild their connection, even when it felt impossible. If your marriage is struggling, if your marriage has hit the rock, and you don't know what to do next, this is for you. Click the link below to register. It's completely free. So now let's get into it. Let's talk about what to do when your mind feels hopeless. Step 1, stop the bleeding. Imagine you're holding a tube of super glue, and instead of carefully fixing something, you squeeze the whole bottle onto the problem. Now everything is just a sticky mess. That's what happens when you keep reacting emotionally to a marriage crisis. You're panicking, over-explaining, begging, chasing, thinking if you just do more, things will change. One of our clients, Brian, came to us saying, Ola, I've tried everything and she's still pulling away. We have this example everywhere, both genders. So it doesn't matter what gender you are. See, I asked him, what exactly have you been trying? He said, I text her every day. I send long messages explaining my feelings, and I keep asking what's wrong. And I had to tell him, Brian, you're making things worse. The more you push, the more she pulls away. When what you're doing is not working, doing more of it is the worst thing you can do, right? Instead, just pause, stop the cycle, let things breathe. And before we go any further, if this is already making sense, please hit like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. All right, let's move on. Step 2, practice active listening. You ever talk to someone and just know they're not really listening? Like you're sharing something important and they're just waiting for their turn to talk. Yeah, don't be that person. Most couples in crisis think they have a communication problem. The real issue, they have a listening problem. One of our clients, Amy, was frustrated because her husband, Daniel, never opened up. She'd ask, what's wrong? He'd say, nothing. She'd push for answers and he would just shut down even more. We told her, instead of pressuring him to talk, try just listening. I know, very hard. No interruptions, no judgment. Just let him be heard. And guess what? A week later, he opened up on his own. I know it's a whole week, but a week later, it's better than for life, right? Because when people feel truly heard, they naturally want to share more. Step 3, identify value. All right, this one is deep, so stay with me. Why do people stay in relationships? It's not love, at least not in the way you're probably thinking. It's not attraction either. It's not even history. It's really at the core value. If your partner no longer sees value in the relationship, they start pulling away. Not because they don't care, but because on a subconscious level, they don't see the benefit of staying. So your job, reintroduce value. If you care enough, introduce value. And no, that doesn't mean over-explaining your worth, doing more chores, or sending long I love you text. It means making the relationship feel worthwhile again. One of our clients, Kevin, told us his wife seemed totally checked out. no affection, no excitement, nothing. So we asked, when's the last time you were the most attractive version of yourself? Of course, he was confused. He thought about it and said, honestly, when we first met, I was confident, fun, unpredictable. So we said, bring that guy back. So a few weeks later, his wife started flirting with him again. Why? Because when the value of a relationship increases, so does the desire to be in it, right? I know it sounds simple, it's easier said than done anyway, but step 4, take care of yourself. Now, this might sound selfish, but trust me, it's the opposite. Most people in struggling marriages are exhausted. They are mentally, emotionally, physically drained, and you can't pour from an empty cup. One of our clients, Jessica, was so focused on saving her marriage that she completely neglected herself. She was constantly anxious, always second guessing, and just drained. We told her, you gotta fill your own tank first. So she did. She started exercising again, hanging out with friends, rediscovering hobbies that she had abandoned. And guess what? Her husband started noticing. Because confidence is sexy. That's attractive. A happy, fulfilled person, that's magnetic. Taking care of yourself isn't selfish. It's the foundation for saving your marriage. Step number 5, give, and give. Now, I know what you're thinking. Ola, I've been given, and I get nothing back. Well, here's the thing. There's a difference between giving with expectation and giving with influence. See, when you give strategically, not out of desperation, but with confidence, you create what's called the law of reciprocity. One of our clients, Marcus, was frustrated because his wife never initiated intimacy. He was always the one trying, and he was tired of feeling rejected. So we asked him, when's the last time you made her feel desired without expecting anything in return? What a complicated question, right? He admitted it anyway. He admitted it had been a while. So we challenged him for the next week. Compliment her, touch her, flirt with her, but with zero pressure for anything in return. I know, sounds confusing? Well, that's why we're here to help, right? 3 days in, she started initiating. Why? Because when you give in the right way, you don't just get back, you create desire. And if you need help figuring out exactly how to do that in your marriage, the first and only step right in front of you right now is to go to www.getmymarriageback.com or click the link in the description or around this video. We've helped countless couples and individuals, and we can help you too. Now, before we wrap this up, let's start the pot a little. Some people believe that if a marriage feels hopeless, it's better to walk away than to keep trying. Others believe that every marriage can be saved with the right effort. What do you think? Should you always fight for your marriage, or is there a point where it's better to just let go? Just let go, right? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'm curious to hear your take. And don't forget, hit like, share, subscribe, and turn on your notifications so you don't miss the next video, where we're talking about how to talk to your spouse without fighting. I'll be right back with that.